welcome to my kitchen. So now of course we're here in my kitchen. That means that we're here to prepare something, right? Otherwise why else will we come to the kitchen? Probably also maybe to cook something as well. So can we bring me to the center of my kitchen, because I also want to be at the center talking to all of my students. So now of course when I'm here in my kitchen, I'm actually here to do something very special. The thing is, Ankita ma'am is here back in town. So she's come back from her long trip at Egypt and I'm very excited to meet her, and I want to prepare something very special. But the thing is, I have only few ingredients with me. So I have potatoes with me, I have some eggs with me, and I have some butter with me. So can you all tell me what I could probably make with all of these ingredients? Now you can take a minute and you can think about it, or in the chat you can let me know. Now if you're a student who's watching this post after the live session, you can probably tell me. Yes, now a lot of you are giving me some good ideas, but you know what I was thinking? Ankita ma'am loves peri-peri fries. Actually, that's her favorite. But I don't really have the peri-peri masala with me, but probably I could make her some French fries. Yes, or maybe I could, do like a roast with the butter. Or I could make omelette as well. So now we're talking about food, right? And we're talking about all my yummy food. We're talking about how Ankita ma'am's favorite food is peri-peri fries. And if you want to ask me what is my favorite food, it will definitely be paneer butter masala. What is your favorite food? You can let me know. You can think about it and you can say what is your favorite food. But the thing is, when we talk about food and everything, right, there's always one thought that comes to our mind. So most often than not, yes, so if you can bring me back to my normal position. Yes, Ranjit? So now of course, when we talk about food, yes, whenever we're feeling very low, right, or sometimes when we're feeling very upset, or sometimes what happens is that when we've had a very long day at school, what happens? We feel something like this, no, we start our day full, energized. But after some time, towards the end of the day, we feel like, oh no, I don't have energy to do anything, right? Now this is not just in our body, our devices that we use also, they're also pretty much like this, no? Right? So if you are using your phone or your laptop, or if you are going to be using any sort of device, you need to recharge it, right? So without really recharging it, is it possible? No, our phones will tell, listen, it's time to recharge, and what we will do, we will go, take it and we will plug it up. So pretty much our body also gives us signs that, hey, it's time for you to recharge. Which is why earlier when I was telling you, that when you're very low on energy, or if you've had a long day, or sometimes if you're very upset, or if you're tired a little bit, our mummies and our elders, they'll be like, listen, go eat food first, right? How many of you have experienced this? You can tell me in the chat right now. How many of us have experienced this, that whenever we're very low, we're very angry, or we'll be like, oh, today I don't feel like doing anything. Go eat lunch first, right? You did not eat breakfast today, that is a problem. And if you notice, to charge our day, right, or to be at that state of energy in the mornings, we get to eat that breakfast. So, if you think about it, for any and every activity that we do, yes? So we're talking about activities that we do, right? Now it could be, going to school, doing your homework, paying attention in class, or doing physical activities like football, badminton, dancing, singing, or me right now sitting and talking to all of you, or a lot of internal activities that you probably are not thinking about right now. Now for all of these activities, we require a fuel that will drive our body. And what is the fuel that drives our body? That is what we are going to be learning today in our class, which is all about nutrition and modes of nutrition. And we are going to get started with the first chapter of class 7 science, that is nutrition in plants. Now, of course, for everybody out there who are very regular to my class, I welcome you, right? For those of you who are very new and who are wondering, ma'am, who are you? What do you do? I'm your biology educator, Aishwarya, and yes, I love starting my class with some stories, which is why I kick-started my class with a small story, right? And to make you understand the relevance of food. So good evening to all of you out here. Good evening, everybody. I can see that a lot of you are here, a lot of new students like Sanskriti, Lakshya, Gopal, I can see Anshub. So many of you are here, so I welcome you to this particular class. Yes, and I can see Shikhan, a lot of you are here, so good evening everybody, good evening. Please make sure you mark your attendance by hitting the like button on this video. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button as well. Very, very important. Now, students, as you're going to be regular to my class, let me tell you one thing. I am not going to start class like in the earlier ways where I used to, start by just, saying hi, hello to all of you. But in every class, I'm going to start with a small story that will make you understand why you are here to study. And that's what we here at Byju's do, right? We don't just believe that it's about just teaching you what is there in the concept, but it is also about making sure that you are learning your concepts end to end and you remember it, right? So everyone, very quickly, I hope my audio, my video and my screen and what I am writing on the screen is visible to all of you. If it is in the live chat, you can give me a quick thumbs up, and for those of you watching this video later, you can quickly fast forward to the next part. So everyone, I can see here Purushottam, lot of you students on the live chat asking me, ma'am, take my name, take my name. Let me tell you one thing, I will definitely take your name, but I also need you to understand that that could also be distracting the class. So towards the end, I will call out all your names for those of you who want your names to be called out, but we will do it towards the end of the class, not in between. So kindly refrain from saying things like, you are ignoring me, you don't care about me, because of course all of that is not true, because I truly love all of you. I love all my students who are going to be there throughout with me watching this video much later. Lots of love to all of you, so kindly refrain from using things like I am ignoring, because I am of course not. Now, one very important thing for students asking me is that this particular chapter, nutrition in plants, is very relevant, because this what you learn today forms the basics of what you are going to learn in your higher grades, right? In class 10, class 11th, right? All of this is going to be very relevant for all of you. So I hope that all of you have your notebooks and pens ready with you, have your textbooks open. Today we're going to discuss some basics, right? We are only going to be discussing the basics. Ansh Bacha, please refrain from using that. I already wished you, and kindly stop spamming in the chat as well. Okay everybody, so let's get started, but we have some good news today. Alright, so as you all know, on this very day, we have hit 95,000 subscribers. Hooray to the team, right? Hooray to all of us. This is not possible just with one or two people. We have hit 95,000 subscribers. We are a huge family of 95,000, and very soon we are going to hit 100,000, and we're going to be having a silver button in our name, right? So everybody, we need to hit this 100,000 really soon. So please make sure you share this video with all of your friends. Tell your friends to come and watch this video and subscribe to the channel. So this is very important, because we want a silver button in our name, right? So I'm sure all of you here will definitely help us out, right? Because it's not just us getting the silver button, we are getting the silver button. Always remember that. None of this is going to be possible if you guys are not here, and you are here, and of course because of you is why we are closing in on 95, 96, 97,000, and soon we will hit that 100,000 subscribers. Yes. So now, of course, we started off our class today by asking a very important question, right? What is the fuel that drives our body, or what is it that makes us do so many different kinds of activities? So can you all in the live chat tell me what is the fuel that drives our body? Exactly. It is nothing but the food that we eat. Now simply, what do we do with the food? We don't just look at the food and we're like, yes, I got energy, right? We always say that we have to eat our food, which simply means that this whole process of eating your food and the food becoming the fuel that is there inside our body is simply what I can say is nutrition. Or what can I tell you? Nutrition is nothing but the mode of taking in of food by an organism and its utilization. Yes? So let's understand. We're talking about nutrition being the mode of taking in food. Yes? So we are not only seeing the food, we need to take in the food, and once the food reaches within or inside the body, or once the food is obtained, we see that it gets utilized. Now what does utilized mean? Think about it, okay? I'll give you a simple analogy. Yes? You all have your mobile phones, right? Or you might have your, Byju's tab. You might have whatever it is, your laptops, whatever it may be. Now think about how when it is not having enough charge, right? What do? You will plug it, you will put it for charge, and then you're going to plug it so that, you increase the battery, and then you make sure that, whatever, the battery life extends. Now what happens after putting for charge? Will you leave the phone as it is? No, right? Whatever you have charged, and how much ever you've charged your phone, you will then start using your phone, right? You might watch your YouTube videos, right? Or you might be attending your Byju's classes, or your Byju's classes, your premium classes that are there. Or you might be watching some videos on our app, right? So you'll be using your phone. So in this case, what does it mean? Your utilization is nothing but how you use the food inside your body. That is what we mean by this. Now the next thing is, when I say that we are using the food, or when I say food is the fuel that drives our body, what is it that is there in our body? Can you tell me, or what is there in the food that actually helps us utilize it? There should be something in the food, right? Now this is something we've learned in our lower grades, and Ansha has given me the answer along with Aditya, Geetika, and a lot more. Exactly. So the food that we eat has a lot of components which we call as nutrients. So what are nutrients? Nutrients are the components which are present in the food that is needed by the body. Now the thing is, if you talk about these components which are needed by the body, it is not that there is only one nutrient and everything comes from that nutrient. No, we have different kinds of nutrients. So can you all quickly tell me what are the different types of nutrients that are there which are needed by our body? Yes? Can you all tell me what are the different nutrients? We've learned about it, right? So we know that we have carbohydrates, then we have proteins, then we have fats, then of course we have vitamins. Yes, very good. And we have minerals. Now quickly in the chat, if you remember, I started today's class with some potatoes. Now what nutrient is present in a potato? Can you all tell me, or can you all recall and tell me what nutrient is majorly present in a potato? Exactly, right? They are carbohydrates. Now what about an egg? Right? So egg also has various nutrients. But the thing is, egg has one main nutrient which is responsible. And they are your proteins. Exactly. And last but not the least, I had some butter with me. Right? So in butter, we know that of course some nutrients are there. But what is it majorly present? Which kind of nutrient is majorly present? Very good. Fats are majorly present. Now the thing is, all the three that I just spoke to you about, your carbohydrates, proteins and fats, these are needed in large amounts, which is why we call them as macronutrients. And vitamins and minerals, which we normally find in fresh fruits and vegetables, they are needed in less amounts. So we call them as micronutrients. That means less amounts. But the thing is, am I only going to get energy from all of these nutrients? Yes or no in the live chat very quickly. Now, if I have carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals, will I get only energy? Absolutely not, right? So, obtaining energy. So, if I were to talk about why we need these nutrients, right? So one aspect of it is that I obtain energy to carry out my activities. But the thing is, I need energy. I need nutrients for various other things. I need to grow. I'm a young child in 7th standard, right? My body is still developing. So I need to grow. Very good, Nadu, right? Vanshika also telling me, ma'am, we need it for repair. Beautiful. What else do we need it for? We require for various chemical reactions that are happening. So exactly in this case, we also need it for various other development that is happening within our body, right? So these are a few reasons. So for a lot of activities to constantly keep happening within our body, we require these nutrients, right? So now are we all clear with the basic understanding of what is nutrition and what are these nutrients, why we need them? Yes? Are we all clear? I want a quick thumbs up on the live chat, and if you have understood, take a pat on your back, right? Beautiful, very good. Now we're going to move on to the next aspect of it, but before I show you, right? Biology is all about observations. So now that you're a student of science and you've slowly progressed to learning more complicated things, or I would say more beautiful things that happen around you, it's very important that you observe what is happening. So I'm going to show you a few videos, okay? Now what I want you to do is take a notebook and pen next to you and start writing down what you are observing, okay? So that is what you need to do. So I'm going to show you a video. You can either tell me on the live chat, or for those of you who are watching it later, I request you to do this exercise where you are actually writing down what you observed. Yes? Give me a thumbs up on the live chat, and for those of you, I hope you are ready to watch this later. Now I'm going to step outside the frame so that you are only able to see the video. Yes, I'm here, but I'm going to only show you the video. Are we ready? Very good. So this is the first thing that you are going to see. Now I want you to observe what you are seeing, and I want you to write it down. What is it that you are observing in the frame that I am showing to you? Yes, students, take some time and understand what is happening here. I need you all to write it down also. Okay, now I'm going to read out some of the answers I am getting simultaneously. I can see plants are growing, growth of a plant. Germination is giving me, I'm getting some answers of germination. Yes, most answers, growth and germination is what I am getting. Very good, all of you, very good. You've made your observation. Most of you have agreed to say growth and germination. Now I'm going to show you another video. Yes, now I'm going to step out again and I'm going to show you another video. Please observe what is happening right now. What do you see in this video and what can you understand from this? Okay. Now many of you are saying elephants are eating. I can see eating is the word that is coming out commonly, but I can also see some answers coming in saying they are herbivores, okay, nutrition, then I can see answers such as they are consuming grass, alright, very good, very good. Most answers are coming aligned. Next video. What are you able to see? Flying. Okay, hunting. Arnav says hunting. Eagle is catching the fish and going away. Okay, eagle has taken the fish and eagle has gone. Okay, very good. Yes, eagle is grabbing. Carnivore is one answer I am getting. Okay, very good. Most of you have given me this answer. Yes. Now, you have written this down, no? You have seen observation 1. You have seen observation 2. Now you have looked at observation 3. 3 observations you have made. Now we're going to look at observation number 4 and then we're going to conclude our answer. Yes? What is it that you are seeing in observation number 4? I'm going to write this down in the corner. This is video number 4. Ansh, it is eagle. Yes. Mushroom is growing. Okay. What else can I see? I can see someone saying, ma'am, example of saprotroph. Everybody has got to the final answer. Okay. Yes, Aditya has given me some answers. Growth of fungi, mushrooms and fungi. So there's a lot of debate happening between mushrooms and fungi. Okay, all right. Okay, everybody's using some technical terminologies. Fine. Now, we have made four observations. Now, for those of you who are watching this video later, you can tell me in the comments of this video as well. But for those of you who were for those of you who are watching this live right now, I want you all to tell me one thing. How did you feel when you were observing these videos, right? Now, you as students, at this point, it's very easy for me to tell you that this is what it is, this is what it is, this is what it is. Just go learn and memorize. It's going to be very simple. But now you're moving into an academic and an education system where you are expected to have experiential learning. You are expected to be able to solve things by yourself. Now, you're all very little children. No, it's not something that I can expect of you suddenly. But the thing is, these are ways in which we can train our brain so that tomorrow, whatever we want to be able to achieve, we will be able to achieve just by watching this, right? So that is why I was here showing you all of these videos. Now, from this, we observed growth was something that we saw. We also saw nutrition or feeding happening. Now, with this, you will be able to answer this question very easily because you have seen it with your eyes right now. Do all living organisms obtain nutrition the same way? Yes or no? right? You will be able to answer it. Not because I told you the answer, but because you observed it for yourself, you saw it for yourself, and you know the answer, right? Exactly. So in this case, we know that not all organisms observe it, and you all saw it for yourself as well. Because we saw that in the case, whether it was in the case from 2 to 4, whatever we observed. Case number 2, we saw elephants feeding. Case number 3, we saw that the eagle was snatching a fish. Case number 4, we observed that fungi was growing on some dead and decaying matter. Very dark place it was growing in, right? But in the case of plants or green plants, story is little different. Do we ever see a plant eating in the side, right? Plant is sitting there nicely eating food, right? Or plant is sitting in the corner and suddenly going and jumping on one tiger and snatching it. No, right? I mean, you just think about it. If this mango tree right here had the ability to run behind somebody and chase it like a carnivore and feed on it, absolutely not, right? You can't even imagine that. Of course, because the thing is, plants are like, bro, I'm very good at this, right? I can make my own food, which is why we see that there are organisms which have the ability to make their own food, and there are some organisms which don't have the ability to make their own food, which is why they are dependent. And based on that, we categorize them as autotrophic mode of nutrition and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Very simple and easy. Now, when you say autotrophic, so let's break the word down, right? Because it's something you should understand, that you should not just memorize things blindly. If I tell you autotrophic mode is this and this, okay, Ashwara ma'am has told me, I am just going to learn it. That is not how learning happens at Byju's. Let me tell you that, right? At Byju's here, we will tell you why, what, everything, so that tomorrow you will never forget this concept. We are not thinking just for today you will understand. No, for the rest of your life you should never forget. That is how we will teach you, right? Or the aim is to teach you like that. So when you say auto means self, right? Think about when you say automatic. Automatic means it happens on its own, right? So that is what we mean by it. Now when you have trophic, trophic comes from the word trophos. Now I don't expect you to remember what is trophos, but trophos here means nutrition, right? So in this case, self-nutrition, that means that organisms which exhibit autotrophic mode of nutrition, they make their own food. Now how do they make their own food? Pretty much like how we cook at home. Again, I'm going to bring back my props. I have my potatoes with me. I have my eggs with me. I have my butter with me. Now, what is this when I make so imagine if I have to make maybe like I'm making an egg burji or something like that. These are like my raw materials, right? They are very simple things. Like for example, egg is a very simple thing. But when I break it and I do a lot of process with it, I get egg burji, which looks completely different from my raw material, which is my egg, right? So when you think about it, you have egg and then I make egg burji. Both are two very different things. But what happened is that in between certain processes happened. Yes? And what happened here? I took something very simple and I made it into a food item. So it's as simple as what plants do. They use certain simple things which are there in the environment, right? So they use certain simple raw materials which are available in the surroundings and they convert them into food. Now the thing is, if you think about it, do only green plants, now I have a question for all of you, do only green plants prepare their own food? Yes or no, right? Do only green plants prepare their own food? This is a trick question, right? Many of you are saying no, many of you are saying, ma'am, yes, green plants make their own food. Who else will make food? I mean, green plants, they are only autotrophs. Yes, for those of you who have told me yes, it's okay. But for those of you who told me no, your answer is correct. Only green plants actually don't make their own food. There are various other bacteria, there are various other organisms which actually have the ability to prepare their own food. Interesting, right? That there are so many other organisms that can actually prepare their own food. Yes, so that is the thing here. And we will be talking about these organisms also. It's going to be very, very interesting. Now, of course, but green plants is the most common example that we take. And another thing is organisms, right? So organisms that exhibit this mode of nutrition, Yes, so imagine I am a plant and I am exhibiting this mode of nutrition, then I will call this organism as a autotroph. So if I am a plant and I can make my own food, I should be called something, right? So I'm called an autotroph. So that is as simple as that. Inorganic substance, you don't pay too much attention to this. You can just say simple raw materials, right? Simple raw materials is all you need to know. It's as simple as that. Okay. Ma'am, we are not autotrophic because we are okay. Gauri, but the thing is that is not the reason. We are not autotrophic because we don't have the ability to prepare our own food. If you think that making egg burji or potato fry is, autotrophic mode of nutrition because ma'am, I cook it at home and I am able to make my own food, then I am autotrophic. No, I am also not different from the plant. That is not the case. Plant is making the food within its body. Am I able to make food within my body? No, I need to eat my food. Which is why I come under the next category, which is heterotrophic mode of nutrition, right? So in heterotrophic mode of nutrition, we see that organisms are dependent. Yes, Pramod, exactly. So we see that they are dependent. So right now, I am dependent on this potato for food nutrition. I am dependent on this egg for nutrition. Which is why in this case, I can say that I exhibit heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now, hetero means that it is others, right? Hetero means others. Trophos means nutrition, right? So this is what we mean by this. And yes, Ansh, we take raw materials from others. Now we take it from plants. Now if you look at tigers, they take it from other animals also. So the thing is, if you look at this, we eat plants. There are some people who eat, maybe meat as well. Now we will look at, forget us, look at the world in general, right? Now if you saw the elephant that was there was eating a plant, but the eagle was not eating plant, but the eagle that was there was actually eating, or it was feeding on a fish. So can I say that in maybe a forest, right, you might have a deer which is eating the, it is eating the plant. You might have a leopard or a tiger which eats the deer. And finally, when the deer dies and on the decaying matter, there will be some vulture or something eating on it. But at the end of the day, right, directly or indirectly, they are all dependent on the plant for food. Can I say that? Yes or no? Can I say that all animals are directly or indirectly dependent on the plant? Because you imagine if this deer did not eat the plant, right, will the deer be able to survive? No. If the deer doesn't survive, will the leopard be able to survive because its food is now gone? No. Then if leopard is also not there and no animals are dying, what will the vulture do? Oh, no animals are dying because, at the end of the day, they are not there. Or they've all died and there are no more animals to save. No, right? So at the end of the day, they are directly or indirectly dependent on food. Now, so far, before I go ahead, I want all of you to take a minute, right? A lot of you are asking me, is it a bridge session? It's not a bridge session. It's a proper conceptual session, but I'm going into the details of each thing that we are learning. Now, I want to ask all of you. Now, so far, you just learned a very simple concept of autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Are you enjoying the way you learned it? You have not learned it like how you probably would have learned it in class, right? Now, if you think about it, this is not how you would probably learn it in class or any other place. But you've learned it in a very simple and easy manner. And if you think about it, you're never going to forget. And you will use these examples. Oh, I remember Aishwarya ma'am used that example of potato and egg burji example. I remember Aishwarya ma'am telling me about this. So you will be using these simple examples to always recall. Now the thing is, you should understand that this is how much probably is there in your examination, and this is how much that is going to come in your probably in your unit test or whatever. This is all that's there in your textbook. But you should be curious students. You should not be like, "Arey ma'am, this much is only there in my textbook. I will only learn this much." No. Ask questions. Think about, I said that if a plant is not there, which means that if an organism from this chain disappears, it is no longer there. You imagine if it never existed. So let's do an experiment. Are you ready to do an experiment with me? Yes or no? Are you all ready to maybe do some experiment wherein we are doing some, maybe we are making some, a world of our own? Yes? Okay. Now, I have this particular train or a chain, like we can say, right? Let's use the proper terminology. I have this chain with me. Now, what will happen if one organism disappears? That means we are going to be in a world where there are only plants and there are only deers. Okay, so I have my plant with me and I have my deer with me. Nothing else. Now, what's going to happen? Yes, deer will not exist. How will deer not exist? Deer is getting lot of food, no? Deer is getting so much food that there are only deers now. So many deers, yes? Food chain will break. Okay, food chain broke. Now I'm telling you that we are in a world where this food chain pe only there is deer and there is plant. Yes? What is going to happen? Only deers and plant mean nobody's killing the deers, right? Deer is actually food for a leopard or something. But now we are in a world where there is no leopard, which means that the population of deers, no, it will become more and more because nobody's killing them, so number becomes so much more. At the end of the day, what will happen? They will all keep feeding on this plant. And at the end of the day, eventually, many years later, millions of years later, there will no longer be any plants because all the deers would have eaten all the plants. Now what will happen? If the number of plants become very less or there are no plants, will the deer survive at this point? No. The deer also will not survive, right? So at any point, if I make an organism disappear from this chain. So now if the deer goes, poor leopard has nothing to eat. Deer is no longer there. Leopard is in a world where it eats only deer and now there is no deer also. Poor thing will not survive, right? Now eventually we see that the number of plants will become considerably more. That's what's going to happen. Now, this is when things are going away. Now you imagine if a new organism appears. So if this is my normal chain, okay, this is how normally, like all the dependency is happening. Deer is dependent on the deer as food. Deer is dependent on plant as food. Now what if I made everybody, disappear first. I made them all go away. So it's easy, no imbalance will come and all of this is going to happen. But what if I bring somebody new? Yes? What if I bring somebody new into the picture? Then what's going to happen? Then imagine you are in a race, okay? There is a race between two of you. Now, two of you. Now suddenly I bring one more person. What is going to happen? I want you to tell me that. If Ankita ma'am and I are running the race and suddenly they say, "Ha, Saurabh sir, you also run with them." What has happened now? Because in a race, it's a competition. Now if somebody else also comes in, what's going to happen to me? What is going to happen? More competition, right? So more of us are going to, compete against each other. So it's pretty much that. Now it's as simple as if you are in a classroom, okay? You are in a classroom and there are 40 students and there are 40 apples, right? So there are going to be 40 apples for my 40 students. But now the thing is, my teacher has brought in 10 more students. Or let's make it easier. Has brought in 40 more students from class 7B. So this is class 7A. From class 7B, she has brought in 40 more students. Now will everybody get 40 apples? Yes or no? Are all these students going to get 40 apples? Yes or no? Simple, right? No. We are not going to get. Because why? Now all the food that is here is now getting shared not with 40 people, which should have ideally been the case, but it's called getting shared between 80 people. Competition. So eventually what will happen? Food will get over very fast. So when I bring in a new organism, we see that the food will disappear very fast, which eventually means that organisms will not survive, right? So this is what we mean by this. So at the end of the day, whether we have autotrophs or heterotrophs, you can simply say, no, ma'am, we should just have autotrophs. Why we are having heterotrophs? Or, why we only heterotrophs are needed? Why do we need all of that? That's the case. The reason why we have autotrophs and heterotrophs is to balance things out. And even amongst heterotrophs, you see that it's not just one kind. But we see that there are various ways in which these heterotrophs are dependent on them. They could be either through saprophytic mode, parasitic mode, symbiotic mode. Now, I'm not going to tell you what these are because I will be covering it in a different video. But for now, you need to just have a basic understanding. Now, very quickly, before I summarize, I want to take a quick doubt board, right? So, I'm going to take a doubt board where I want you to tell me if you have any doubts so far. Now, a big question that is coming in this case is, what is the difference between heterotrophs, right, and heterotrophic mode of nutrition? Now, heterotrophic mode of nutrition that is there, it is a mode of nutrition where organisms, right? So, it is a process, you could say. Organisms are dependent, right? So, we see that they are dependent on another organism for food. And we see that this mode, any animal or any organism which is dependent on this, is dependent on another organism for food, we call that animal, the name that we give is what we call as heterotroph. So, I hope you are clear with this. Yes? Ma'am, what if there is no plants and no animals and only humans? If there are no plants and no animals and only humans, we will also not be able to survive because the kind of food that we eat, right? So, the food that we eat also comes from animals and plants. And if there are no plants and animals, will we be able to survive? Absolutely not, right? So, that is the reason. Okay. Now, what about if only plants are there? See, if only plants are there, let me tell you one thing. If only plants are there, they will be able to prepare their own food by the process which we will be learning about in the future. But they require a lot of other things also, right? So, the only plants without animals or microorganisms, even they will not be able to survive for a very long time, let me tell you. There needs to be microorganisms which will supply them with other nutrients and a lot of more things. So, which is why we see that all these organisms at the end of the day need to be there together to survive. Yes? Okay. Ma'am, please explain food chain. See, food chain, so I will do it again when I do, forest chapter. But food chain is basically a linear sequence where one organism is dependent on the other. Yes? Symbiosis, symbiotic, a lot of questions coming on types of heterotrophic mode of nutrition, which I will be covering in the later classes. Do not worry. Today was just an introduction to this, right? It's as simple as that. So everybody, quick summary of what we learned today. Yes, autotrophic mode, we learned about what is nutrition, we learned about the types of, we learned the two modes, which is autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Very simple and easy. We learned some very simple concepts today, but we learned it in great detail. And I have a homework for all of you, right? So this is your homework question, everybody, and I need you to tell me in the comments of this video. Yes? I need you to tell me the difference between autotrophs and heterotrophs. This is going to be your homework question where you will tell me the difference between autotrophs and heterotrophs. And once you do this, you should tell me in the comments of this video. Now, second thing is, did you enjoy today's class? If you enjoyed today's class, let me know in the comments of this video and what you enjoyed specifically. And if you love what we do, right, especially what we do here at Byju's 6th, 7th and 8th grade channel, then you need to hit the subscribe button. Because let me tell you one thing, the kind of learning that you will find here at Byju's, right, a lot of you might say, ma'am, this is better, that is better. That is your choice and I will never, say that this is the way and nothing. And we respect every platform that is there. But one thing we can take guarantee for is that the kind of learning that you will get here, the kind of teaching style, the experience that you will get here is something you may or may not find elsewhere, right? And that is something we will take in confidence. So make sure that if you like the way we teach and what we do, you have to hit the subscribe button on this particular video. Don't forget to share it with your friends. And of course, like I always tell you, show us your love by liking this video. I will see you all very soon, everybody. But up until then, take care, lots of love and bye-bye.